Alrighty, guys, we are back waiting on them to start. I am multitasking. Got every single recap recorded, but there's still two more, one uploading and two more behind it. So they'll be uploading. We got them done. And I have my icy. It's gone now. Ain't no more ice, but. And I hula hooped for 2 seconds. Okay. Oh God, let's hope this is something I can help them with. Oh, hold on, guys. Afternoon. Oh. Okay, hold on, guys. 1 second. Maybe I am just going straight and getting
All
notary
right, for
questions.
the purpose of the
Jesus.
record, we return back to the matter, Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. All parties are present, excluding the jury.
All right, Counsel, can I see it sidebar?
Quick sidebar. And we're off to the races. Looks like we are at okay, we got one loading and one to go. Now let me before my regular people start getting on me because I know I have my people who rely on playlists so they don't have to keep scrolling and they listen while they drive. Therefore, I'm putting all these in the playlist so everything is in order and folks can get it how they live, okay? Okay. Okay. Whew. Mac Juice, you know that's how we do it. We get through our work day like this. I'm just being want us to be conscious of how we what our intake. Our intake is the best way that I can say it. I want to be conscious of our intake cuz baby, this is a lot. A lot. It's a whole lot of. Okay. Oh, hold on, guys. I gotta listen to this. Sorry, guys. I'm answering some notary questions and their voice messages, so I don't want to put nobody business out there, you know? I gotta keep muting. Okay. Woo! Let's get back to it. Side damn bar, and hopefully this is about scheduling. But at some point, we need to have a conversation not about scheduling for the day or for the week, but are we really going 6 to 8 weeks with this? I mean, we about two down, but we really going 6 to 8 weeks with this for real? 6 to 8 weeks or not 6 to 8 weeks? That is the question. You ready to go? How was your food? Uh, Today I'm excited because I got recaps done on our break. That was old school. There was a time when I used to bust my butt, but that's when Glanville used to give us 2 hour long lunches and all that stuff. This judge, while he may start late and end early, he do stay to a strict 1 hour lunch. So there is that. I put this in here. And it's Wednesday, so that helps me out even more because we know kiddos will be home early. Big Unc is already headed back to work. I don't know, and I'm sure that also accounts for Lindsay's case as well. Well, does that? Because she doesn't technically have to put on a case, but I wonder if they took into account the fact that she was going to put on a case, and maybe that the whole trial in total would be 6 to 8 weeks. But I was watching an old case. I have started dipping into Rosemary Scapaccio's cases, and I watched a documentary on an old case of hers. The documentary was called Trial 4. All right, love you too. Be careful. Let me know if you think of something for dinner or you just want to do the nacho. Oh, Glanville would. No, I honestly don't even want to imagine if Glanville had this case. That's starting to mess with my anxiety. And oh no, Glanville. Thinking of Glanville handling this case is actually going to mess with my icy. And see, because you just pulled that, let me go get me a Pepsi. I'll see what kind of afternoon you trying to have. Let me give me a Pepsi. Yep, not participating in that madness. Got me a Pepsi. What else I need to do? I need to get my that's why we had so many dang on breaks because he was taking that dog for walks and that dog was probably going home going to sleep. Um I think what do I need to do? deal. Oops. Come on, work with me now. Okay, definitely need that. And what I'm looking for. Maybe the way I be over here multitasking, help me, Lord. Now, what on God's green earth is taking this long in a damn sidebar?
Your Honor, we could just go back to
Oh,
second.
sure.
What? Now, wait a damn minute. Jesus. Y'all should have just did all this and had us come back somewhere around 2:30. Because you know good and damn well he's going to be ready to go in an hour.
While we're waiting for the jury, it just kind of remind again that we've got people coming in and out at all times. I want to remind everybody of the pending media order regarding certain pieces of evidence. I also want to remind the warning that I gave. No disruptive statements or anything that's going to disrupt these proceedings. If that's done, they will be dealt with summarily, as we say. All right, so just a warning in regards to that. Okay.
Who said something? And what they say? Because you keep giving warnings. They playing with you, Judge. Put their ass out of there. Somebody said something to her ass or she heard it. Who the next witness?
You all set? All right, yeah. Ready for the jury.
Oh, the next one is the autopsy. Okay. Goodness.
All right, jurors enter. This court's now in session. Please be seated.
Your Honor, for the purpose of the record, we return back to the trial of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. All parties are present, including the defendant and including the 18 jurors.
All right. Everybody, thank you for your patience. We'll give you a couple extra minutes to look at the solar eclipse while you're out there. So what we're going to do is we're going to return now to the Commonwealth's case. Commonwealth, could I call your next witness, please?
Prior to the witness, Your Honor, I would just move to enter in as the next exhibit the excerpted pages from the South Shore Health System Perinatal Behavioral Health Program regarding the last witness, Letitia Dukes.
Okay, any objection?
By agreement, Judge.
All right, so it's by agreement.
All parties. Just like Bev and her sidebars.
Bradley as the next witness, please.
Thank you.
Just for the record, Your Honor, I object. It's not contested. I don't think it's necessary, so I object.
All right. Same finding.
Good afternoon. You stop right here, raise your right hand to the clerk, please.
Good afternoon. Do solemnly swear that the testimony and the evidence you shall give to the jury will bear no upon you to the Commonwealth and the state of Callan shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may have a seat.
Watch your step, please.
Hey, good
I mean,
afternoon.
you still
Good, thanks. Just going to ask you to keep your voice up so the jury can hear you and speak into that microphone, okay? Thank you. Yes, come on.
Thank you. Could you please tell the jury your first and last name?
Yeah, Nicole Bradley,
And where do you work?
Plymouth County Sheriff's Department.
What do you do there?
I'm an Assistant Deputy Superintendent of the Field Services Division.
And as one of the roles of the Field Services Division, does the Sheriff's Department engage in what's called hospital watch?
Yes, we do.
Can you tell us very briefly what that is?
Yep. So if any safekeep, detainee, or
Well, maybe
inmate
she's
goes
not.
over to the hospital, we use our deputies and matrons to cover them on a security watch.
And are the employees from the Sheriff's Department who are on those watches required to log the activity of who comes and goes from the individuals who they are there to watch?
Yes, they are.
And are those records kept in the normal course of business at the Sheriff's Department?
Yes, they are.
And you're familiar with those records and what they look like?
Yes, I am.
If I may approve.
Objection to the record.
Okay. All right. You wanna
Hey,
approach
don't
and
look
Yes,
like
please.
this.
Thank you.
then
Like this more so about her, about who came to see her.
Just going to show you a packet. If you could take a quick look at that.
Good. I'm about to say I just hula hooped and had my icy. I'm gonna be over here trying to break up my band.
And does that packet reflect the hospital logs that are kept by the Sheriff's Department?
Yes, they are.
And you're familiar that between January 25th, 2023 and February 3rd of 2023, that the Sheriff's Department engaged in hospital watch on a patient by the name of Lindsay Clancy.
Yes, I am.
all right, those may be admitted.
No further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Reddington?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you, man.
Thank you very much.
Commonwealth calls Dr. Renee Stonebridge.
There it goes. That must be it. This might be it, guys.
Same objection as decided by a judge. It's
Okay.
not contested, it's not necessary.
All right, same finding, same analysis. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor.
Good afternoon.
Can you stop right there? Raise your right hand to the clerk, please.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you have evidence you should give before the truth, the truth,
Oh Jesus, govern yourself accordingly. I'm with Reddington. They ain't contesting it. It's not necessary. Put it in the packet, send it back with the jury. We don't need to talk about it.
All right, Ms. Sprague?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Renee Stonebridge, ReneeStonebridge.
Where do you work?
I work at the Commonwealth of Massachusetts at the Boston office.
And what department do you work for?
I work for the Chief Medical Examiner's office.
And how long have you worked there?
I have worked there since July of 2017.
And can you describe your educational background?
Yes, I did 4 years of college at SUNY at Stony Brook in New York. I was a double major in German languages and literature and biology. And then I did 4 years at the American University of Antigua, where I got my medical degree. I also graduated with honors, magna cum laude. After that, I did a 4-year combined anatomic and clinical pathology residency program at
Well, I should
NYU
give y'all her
Health
education.
Hospital
I'm going
in
to
Long
get
Island,
my
New York.
Dang,
I
that's
also served as chief resident during my final year there, so 2016 to 2017. After that, I did a 1-year forensic pathology fellowship at the Boston office of the Chief Medical Examiner. And then after that, I did a 2-year neuropathology fellowship program through Brown University at Rhode Island Hospital. And I am board certified in forensic pathology, anatomic pathology, clinical pathology, and neuropathology.
What is neuropathology?
Neuropathology is the study of the brain, the dura, the eyes, and spinal cord, and muscle.
What is your role at the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner here in Massachusetts?
My role there is the Director of Cardiac and Neuropathology. I'm also a medical examiner, but my primary focus is brains and hearts.
And so will there be an occasion where a medical examiner is doing an autopsy and they will send you either a brain or eyes or things of that nature to examine?
Yes.
And why are those things sent to you in particular?
We have certain criteria that is followed in order for a neuropathology consult to occur. Some occasions are any children under the age of 2. I am to receive the brain, typically the spinal cord, depends on circumstances, the eyes and the dura as well. Also, if there's any suspicion of some type of homicidal injury to the head, blunt trauma, typically, those cases will typically come to me as well. Sometimes there are cases in which it may just be something that is a surprise. One of the MEs is doing the autopsy, the head is opened up and they see something unexpected.
Thank you,
They see
Bo.
something that may be hard to diagnose as someone who is not neuropathology trained, or maybe something like a tumor that is unexpected, or a rare neurologic disease, neurodegenerative disease that requires further neuropathologic evaluation.
And were you tasked with doing some examinations regarding Cora Clancy, Dawson Clancy, and Callan Clancy?
Yes.
And specifically for Cora Clancy, what did you examine?
For Cora Clancy, I examined the eyes.
And what were your findings when you examined her eyes?
The findings when I examined the eyes were that there was acute hemorrhage of the extraocular muscles and adipose tissue. So when the eyes are taken out, this happens after the brain comes out of the skull.
Jesus.
And there is a thin portion of bone in the bottom frontal portion of the skull where that bone is broken, and the eyes can then be examined on the inside of the head. Obviously, they're examined also on the outside of the head as well. But you can look at the optic nerve and you can look at the tissue that is surrounding the eyes. So the eyes are within the head with some muscle and some adipose tissue. So there is hemorrhage in these portions of adipose tissue and muscle that is surrounding the eye itself. And then also one of the findings was that the optic nerve sheath on the left side has some punctate hemorrhage. So the eyes, they're sitting in the head, and then there's the optic nerve that connects to the back of the eye and goes to the brain, which sends these signals so people can see. And there was some hemorrhage in this portion surrounding the nerve that connects the left eye.
And are you able to determine by seeing these hemorrhages what caused them?
Hemorrhages themselves are a very general finding. However, given the entirety of the case, knowing what I know from the autopsy findings, I can say it is consistent with something asphyxial.
And why is it that when there's something asphyxial, that means strangulation of some type, correct?
Yes, it can be.
Why is it that these types of hemorrhages occur in the eye?
What happens when there's some sort of asphyxial element to a person, it could be from many different things, but what happens is the blood in the head, if there's, say, some type of compression of the neck or something else that causes asphyxia, there's many things, but if there's some sort of compression, the blood basically gets kind of stuck in the head area. And because the blood can't flow back down through the body, what happens is there's little tiny blood vessels. They're in the eyes, they're in the skin, in the mouth, all over the head region. They basically get blocked up with this blood because it can't move. And these little blood vessels will burst, which leads to these little hemorrhages.
And in terms of Dawson Clancy, what did you examine with Dawson Clancy?
For Dawson Clancy, I examined the eyes as well.
And what were your findings?
The findings were that there was also some acute hemorrhages in these muscle and adipose tissue surrounding the eyes. And then the right eye had some small hemorrhages in the posterior retina and the optic nerve sheath. So the back of the eye, there's the retina within the eye, and the retina connects with the optic nerve at the back portion of the eye. And in this case, there was a little bit of hemorrhage at that connection point where the retina connects to the optic nerve.
And what is hemorrhage?
Hemorrhage itself is just blood that is no longer contained in a blood vessel.
So it's burst from that vessel?
Correct.
And then in terms of Callan Clancy, what did you examine with Callan Clancy?
For Callan Clancy, I examined the brain, the dura, the spinal cord, and the eyes.
And what were your findings?
The findings were that there was hypoxic ischemic changes. Essentially, that means that there has been some sort of incident which has caused the brain to have a certain period of time in which blood and oxygen flow were not appropriate. So in this case, there was a time frame in which there was no blood going to the brain, there wasn't enough oxygen going to the brain, and the brain will show certain findings in these sort of circumstances. One of the things I note is that there's edema. Edema is when the brain starts to swell. Edema is also a very general finding. It can happen in many instances, but the edema basically means that the brain starts to swell, so you don't have the nice kind of bumpy pattern on the brain. It starts to swell up and it gets a little more flattened because the brain is encased in the skull, so now it's pressing against the skull because it's swelling up and getting bigger.
I don't see why they
One of the other things I
the
noted was that there was
so that they can
compression
go
of the
back
ventricles.
to
So the ventricles are
back
almost like a
with the
tunnel
jury.
system inside the brain that allow for the cerebral spinal fluid to flow through the brain and go into the spinal cord. And when the brain starts to
say it
swell
out
up, it not only swells up outwards, but swells inwards on itself as well. So these ventricles that are located in the inside portion of the brain are starting to get kind of squashed because the brain is swelling. Another thing I noted was that the brain was diffusely friable, meaning that it's very soft. So one of the things I do on all my brain cases is they go into formalin. The formalin allows them to fix, which basically firms up the tissue. And it makes the tissue more easy to manipulate. A fresh brain coming out of a skull is very soft. It's very easy to damage it. It's very easy to put your fingers through it if you're not careful. So one of the things that gets done is these brains will go into formalin. I typically will let them fix for about 2 weeks or so. And sometimes, regardless of the fixation time at the formalin, sometimes the brain still will not firm up the way it should, because if I'm receiving a brain and it's already has hypoxic ischemic changes, the formalin is only going to penetrate the tissue so much because the tissue is essentially already dead.
Can I just stop you for a second? What is
Girl.
hypoxic ischemic changes?
Hypoxic ischemic changes
Talking all
is when
fast like
you
this shit
are
normal.
getting lack of blood and oxygen flow. So hypoxic is the oxygen portion and ischemic is the blood portion.
So what you saw with Callan's brain was consistent with a lack of blood and oxygen?
Correct, yes.
Which then led to brain death?
Correct, yes.
How long, based on your training and experience, does it take for a brain to start dying after the loss of blood flow and oxygen?
It varies based on different sources. Most sources say it's between about 6 to 8 minutes. If there is no oxygen flow, then the brain will essentially start dying. It depends on, if there's resuscitation that occurs afterwards, but it's generally in the frame of 6 to 8 minutes or so.
And once brain tissue dies, it can't be brought back, correct?
Correct, yes.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rayton? Hold on, Counsel, hold on. We're going to take a short break, all right? So why don't this will be a very short break, come out, we'll come right back, okay?
Court, all rise. Jurors, close the notebooks. Please come to chairs, please. This way.
Ooh, she hitting a snuggle buffet.
We'll get a short recess in the courtroom.
Everybody, in the courtroom.
He did just tell her not to start, but she at one, after you get a whooping, once you hit the, you can't stop. You can't stop. Even when your mama say, keep crying, I'm gonna give you something to cry for, you can't stop. That she just gonna have to hurt you because you can't stop. And honestly, that lady wasn't even letting up. She didn't even take a breath. She didn't give a dramatic pause or nothing. She just spitting all this mess out about soft brains and eyeballs like it's okay. Like, Jesus, lady, I'm glad you talked fast and got it the fuck out the way, but I probably would have broke down too if I wasn't ready. That lady just sitting up there like, you the one clock in and do this shit every day, not us. Now, shit. That lady need to go see somebody because I'm sure she F up a party. She way too free with talking about it. I know she fuck up a party. She got the wrong. Just say something. And when people just fuck up a conversation. Jesus Christ. Hell is your problem, lady? Talking about a baby's brain and gonna say it was way too soft. Something if you grab it too hard, your fingers will go through it. Baby, I don't want to be thinking about tofu. The fuck? Lady's crazy. She need to be in where Letitia Dukes at? She need to do a session. Cause god damn. I'm pouring all down. I'm gonna drink all this Pepsi. Yeah, that lady about to make me take a motherfucking shot. They have tough skinned my ass. They have lost touch with reality. Jenny. And I know they can be affected, but good God damn, that was some shit. I need another cookie. Whew. Whew. Wait. She just is chipper. You crazy? Beyond desensitized. My God. Bridge, we just had real quick good God. Who we have? Nicole Bradley. She just came in, said she was part of Plymouth County Sheriff's Department doing a hospital watch. And they entered, she said they kept a log of who went in and came out of Lindsay's room, which sounded like wasn't nobody but that goddamn doctor from the defense. And they gave the logs of everybody who came and went. Then they brought up Dr. Renee Stonebridge from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Chief Medical Examiner's Office, who is absolutely detached from reality. And she talked like six off a blossom. And she just kept talking and talking and talking like we wasn't talking about Cora's eyes, Dawson's eyes, and Callan's brain. Baby, they sent their organs to her for her to take a look at. All she did was basically go over some of the things like the hemorrhaging in the eyes, the broken blood vessels, and the consistency of Callan's brain, pointing to basically the tissue in his brain was so gone, so dead that it wouldn't even firm up after sitting in that solution for a couple of weeks. But the way she was just saying it was like she was talking about a pot roast or something, and it was a lot. But Lindsay got more than audible. She began to smuggle Buffett, as we call it in our family, where they hit like she couldn't get it together. So we had to take a break. So we on break right now while they get Lindsay back together. But to be honest, Lindsay was already falling apart long before the damn person from the sheriff's county that kept watch over her ass came in. We knew something was coming, but God dang it. I should have recorded that shit so I don't have to say it again. So now we're waiting for everybody to get themselves back together, woo side, go have some fun, touch some grass. They probably need to hug each other. And they should have paid Letitia Dukes to go ahead and get do some therapy sessions for this jury, because these juries, I was not recording. Actually, my phone started ringing because it looked like I just missed a call. Yeah, was that Noah? Uh-oh. Did you not mean to call me, sir? Oh, maybe he did it on accident. It just sounds like she dry heaving. All right, well, we can remove this comment. I don't even know about it no more. Dr. Stonebridge, you need to go somewhere and touch grass. Nicole, sure you know exactly what I'm thinking. All right. Oh, that's an appointment reminder. What appointment? What appointment? Okay. Okay. Now, the odd thing about this, let me tell y'all something. I have been constantly on the weather because for the first time ever in my life, I saw a tornado hit my hometown of Columbus, Ohio yesterday. I'm talking about winds so hard it picked up a car and flipped that fucker into a full 360. It was really scary. There are people that are without lights, will be without lights until tomorrow. Best case scenario, worst case scenario is the date they were given. But I did have to check on my mom. And my of course Tiffany, LaFonda. That's why we were on the phone really yesterday. I was making sure they were okay. Tiffany and them did not lose power. So that's where we started talking about that's when we started talking about the case and all of that. That's why we sitting on the phone, making sure everybody was okay, making sure I can get in touch with everybody, making sure everybody that was without lights had a plan. And then of course checking on my mom because she literally just had her birthday. And sometimes my mom be out here. Anybody else raising parents? Anybody else raising parents? Okay. She don't listen. Y'all know my mama be outside. She's still a bartender, even though she's retired. So sometimes you got to catch her ass. And I had to make sure she wasn't outside. Thinking, oh, it's Ohio, the weather. We don't have, the sirens go off all the time. Sirens didn't even go off in Ohio. How about that? The sirens test every Wednesday at noon. That's how you know what day it is. Sirens did not even go off. Okay. So nobody in Columbus was prepared. I know how people in Columbus are. They think that it's never that serious. Oh, we done been through 6 feet of snow. We didn't have ice storms. We didn't have a blizzard in April. They used to wonky weather, so they don't take shit serious. But a friend of mine's cousin, tree is hanging down into her roof in her hallway above her steps. There is what was it? My cousin's tree fell. My aunt's tree fell across her backyard. I'm talking about police cruisers in Grove. I think it was Groveport. Somebody had the tree down on thank God the officer was out of it. But tornadoes happen in Ohio, but not Columbus. I've never seen one in Columbus. I've seen a lot of warnings. I've seen a lot of winds. I've seen a lot of storms. I've seen ice storms. I've seen everything else, but never the type of wind that they were having yesterday is unreal. The flooding that they have right now is unreal. There are so many people without power. So that was a little scary yesterday. So, and then we're gearing up, and rain out here is a little bit different because what I would call barely a storm or maybe a thunderstorm in Columbus is what they call monsoon season out here, and it's gearing up for monsoon season. So today it was supposed to rain. I haven't seen it yet, but it is gloomy outside. It's only 98, so we've dropped under 100, but that's because we got rain coming for like the next 3 days. I think clear into Saturday we have chances of rain. But soon as Sunday hit, 103, 106, 106, 100. And then when the rain comes back on Thursday, possibly it drops under the 90s. But right now it's only going to drop under the 90s, probably as these storms start to hit. But I'm over the Ohio Kentucky line, and it was bad. We didn't get power back until 10 this morning. Oh my God. I am so sorry to hear that. I know, like, my sister was like, what the is going on? So praying for everybody that's in that situation, because that's no joke to be without power. And sometimes, I didn't really you know, for people who are diabetic but not insulin dependent, you don't really get it. But I remember power going out in Ohio and me being absolutely terrified for my pop-up because he was on insulin and his insulin had to be refrigerated. And so you end up with situations like that. Not to mention, groceries ain't no home right now. Okay, that shit costs an arm and a leg and a piece of a foot. And for it to be like possibly go bad, baby, the way I would be up at work putting my groceries in another refrigerator, like that's no joke. People losing their groceries, their medications. You got to think about people who have life-saving medical equipment that requires, like, oh my God. I just, and when you're a kid, it sounds fun because you got flashlights and candles and playing around, playing blind man's bluff and shit. But when you start thinking about it as an adult, like you got people who have breathing machines and may have oxygen machines that may need to be plugged up or charged, or not just phone, like phones too, because you don't want to think of phones like that, but phones really are, we just found another way to use them, but they are a necessity. I mean, how most people don't have a house phone no more, so if you don't have any electric to charge your dang on cell phone, how you gonna call somebody if something happened? Like, whoo. Oh, lots of motorcycles. Ooh. Oh Lord, she's still getting herself together. They get some water. Maybe they got us some water. Get us some water. I'm trying to figure out why we need to know this to prove that they were strangled. Nobody's contesting that they were strangled. Why do we need Dr. Stonebridge for this case? I'm not questioning that woman's expertise or what she provides to the world. I'm saying for this case, if they're not contesting that these kids went out of here by way of Lindsay and how Lindsay, the methods Lindsay used to take them out of here, why do we have to do this? Yeah, state's prosecuting this as an M. Jesus. Did we ever hear anything? Anybody ever confirm, deny? You just made me think of it, thinking of somebody spacing out or staring about Rashad Murphy and Sean Gathright. Was that ever confirmed? Or, I know Sean Gathright had the not support page, but his management or whatever. Did anybody ever come out and say anything? Or it's nice to see something new. Everybody knows I did the big move, Ohio to Arizona. Cause yeah, it's already about to be 12 o'clock. He gonna mess around and come back and say, come back tomorrow. It's already damn near 3. He gonna mess around and tell us come back tomorrow if they can't get her together. Cool. Yep, it's here, Hannah. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Do they want us to? All right. In other news, I should have had y'all pick, but I think I'm narrowed down to 2. So I am attending the Stiletto Talks, Stilettos in Blanc on Saturday. So it's an all white affair. So I am going to have to wear all white on Saturday. And then I am attending a royal baby shower. A friend of mine is having a little girl, and all of the attendees are required to wear purple. So I'm going to color block between like a royal regular purple and lavender, all pieces satin in a bag. Let's see how it works. I think it's going to be cute though. No, I'm about to say no, they didn't. No, the crown for the baby and for the mama. But I made sure all my gift wrapping and everything was purple. But I want to get, only thing I need to get now is a gift card. Because I know as a mommy who had 2 amazing baby showers, people can get you everything under the sun. There's still going to be something that you need that nobody thought of, or you didn't think you was going to need it quite yet, or you decided you need it now. So I always like to get a Visa gift card, something, because you never know what you're gonna need, even though everybody bought you all the stuff. So I just got to get a gift card. But my plan is to grab the gift card on the way to the all white party. That way, when I get up on Sunday morning for this royal affair, I think so, Laura. You made it back just in time. Lindsay had a very, very physical, audible response. I'm afraid they may say they're done for the day, but we'll see. But they had to give, the judge gave Lindsay she was losing it. She was losing it. But that's what's been sitting back here this whole time. All these all white outfits and dresses and 2 pieces because of the all white affair. But I think there is is it even over here? Oh, is this it? Oh yeah, this jumpsuit. I think this jumpsuit is going to be what I end up wearing. Maybe they had to snatch me up off the ground, because the way I would have leaned over out that chair if I was Lindsay. Because baby, who can take that? Who can take that? And I know y'all gonna yell at me and say she did it, but I'm just saying, you still will respond. And I ain't saying she didn't do it. Mm. It seemed like it's so late in the day, but it's only barely just afternoon for me. Yeah, they had to scrape me up. It's one thing to say it, but then when you start talking about the organs and stuff, like, good God damn, like, it got me cussing. Jesus. Because what you want me to do with that information besides fall out? I don't know what else to do with it. What do you want me to do with that? Just what the hell do you want me to do with that? Nicole, we got to get some more information on the voice, Nicole. We got to get some. So far, we heard. Hold on, y'all big on texting. It was only, I swear to you, Laura, it was only 15 minutes, if that. We've been online. We've been live for an hour. They came back 23, 24 after from the sidebar and went back to sidebar. We probably didn't get started till about 1:25. That first witness was probably 5 minutes. And even though what she was talking about Stonebridge wasn't 10 minutes. She know what time it is. You want court to wrap up. Any of y'all with little ones like me, I think the Puppy Dog Pals new movie is coming out this weekend. So I think they're going to be at the movies. The kid named which kids? That's sad. It's a couple of cases like that. Nicole, which one? Which one are we talking about? No, Hannah, that does not mean she'll be in there for life. The one that got on the stand. Who got on the stand? Poked him and then got on the stand. Because when you said that, you know what? I just rewatched some information about them two twin girls that did that to their mama. Dima. Oh, you talking about that one we watched? Is that what you're talking about? I think I know who you're talking about. And then he took off in the car down the street with the cops after him. And they lost him in the woods. I think I remember what you're talking about. That's what we're trying to figure out now, Poe. That's what we're trying to figure out now. They haven't come back yet. So maybe they're giving her a chance to get herself together, but we know how this judge do. And since it has tipped over until the 3 o'clock hour by 8 minutes. Yeah, I remember him. Oh, we watched that mess. I remember watching that. We have watched a lot of trials together. We are really, really in our trial bag. Y'all have had me watching a lot of trials with y'all. Yeah, Dima was scary. I can't even get it out. Dima was scary. The crazy part is our trial that we started with. There was an update. It is supposed to start Monday. That's why I haven't been watching how many.
Hi, Council, can I see your sidebar?
See.
I'm gonna process Lindsay Clancy.
Let me find it. I did have it because that's kind of why I haven't really been trying to figure out how many jurors we have yet.
Jurors entering.
Oh, well, let them give us this information and I'll. So they have determined that they want to have 16 jurors for the Tupac trial, 12 to deliberate, 4 alternates. Between yesterday and Monday, they have 19 people so far that are moving forward. The judge wants 36 before they begin the strike process on Thursday afternoon.
Trial of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. All parties are present, including the defendant and including the 18 jurors.
All right. Well, members of the jury, I just kind of want to revisit an instruction I've given you a couple times, I think, during the course of this trial. It's important to understand and remember that sometimes there's evidence that's presented in the trial that creates an emotional reaction. All right? But as jurors who have taken an oath to follow the law, I'm instructing you that the law says you must separate any emotional reaction on your part from the informational value and weight that the evidence produces. Your verdict in this case is going to have to be based solely on the evidence, and it's not going to be, it cannot be based on sympathy or anger or passion or prejudice. All right? So you've got to keep that in mind. And so with this, we're going to go to the next witness. Okay.
Oh, he's still going?
Calls Dr. Barbara Vidal-Olsen.
Okay. You know they did. Lawyer by heart, you know they did. She's trying to taint this damn jury.
Good afternoon. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony of the evidence you shall give the truth, the whole truth,
I do.
Thank you. You may have a seat.
All right. Good afternoon, doctor.
Good afternoon.
All right, I'm going to ask you also to keep your voice up so the jury can hear you and speak into that microphone if you would.
Okay.
All right. Ms. Sprague.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Dr. Barbara Olson, Barbaraolson. I previously practiced under my maiden name, Barbara Vidal, Vidal.
Can you describe for us your educational background, please?
I completed my undergraduate studies at the University of New Mexico. I also completed 4 years of medical school at the University of New Mexico School of Medicine. Afterwards, I came to Boston to study the field of pathology at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. I completed a 4-year residency program there, studying both anatomical pathology and clinical pathology. And after my residency, I did a surgical pathology fellowship studying the gastrointestinal tract, liver, and pancreas. And I ended my training doing a fellowship of forensic pathology at the Boston office of the Chief Medical Examiner. I am board certified in anatomical pathology, clinical pathology, and forensic pathology.
And what is forensic pathology?
It is essentially the study of causes that are diseases, disorders, or trauma that results in sudden, unexpected, or non-natural deaths.
And do you currently work at the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner?
Yes, I'm a medical examiner at the Cape Cod office of the Chief Medical Examiner.
How long have you worked there?
Since 2021.
And approximately how many autopsies have you performed?
I have examined over 1,900 bodies and performed over 800 autopsies.
Jeez.
And when performing an autopsy, is there a specific process or procedure that you follow?
Yes. So an autopsy is composed of many parts. The first part being documentation review, and the second part being the examination of the body, which is broken up into 2 parts. The first part being the external examination, where I look for identifying characteristics of a decedent, such as eye color or hair color. I also look for any evidence of natural disease or trauma on the outside of the body. And the second part is the internal examination, where I create a Y-like incision on the chest and abdomen and examine the soft tissues, bones, and organs, looking for any evidence of natural disease and trauma. I also examine the brain.
And did you perform an autopsy on Cora Clancy on January 25th, 2023?
Yes.
And did you follow that same process with Cora Clancy?
Yes.
And so that started with a document review, is that correct?
Yes.
And what type of documents are you reviewing when you do that?
Typically, I have a preliminary police report to review, as well as either EMS records or records from the emergency department.
And did you start with an external examination of Cora?
Yes.
And what did you observe during that external examination?
The external examination of Cora, I saw
Please.
evidence of medical intervention. She was intubated, had various EKG pads and defibrillator pads on her body. She also had a catheter on her right hand and puncture sites on her left hand and her left groin. She had her neck stabilized with a cervical collar, and she had an osseous catheter, which is a type of IV they put directly into the bone on her right lower leg. Her hands at the time of my external examination were covered by police evidence bag.
No, not in front of the jury. You don't get to. Now, it's one thing to have a physical response. It's one thing to cry. I understand. But y'all gonna sit there in front of the jury holding hands while he got his eyes closed? Baby, the way I would have slingshot my bow over there,
And they were secured at the wrist with tape. When I removed those, the fingers showed no evidence of injury, and the fingernails were all of equal length and intact. And then I noted evidence of trauma of the neck with associated injuries of her head and minor injuries of her right arm and of her legs as well.
And in terms of the injuries that you observed, evidence of trauma to her neck, were there also injuries to her face and neck area that seemed to go along with the trauma to her neck?
Yes, there were findings of the head that were associated with the trauma of the neck.
And what were those?
So on her neck, she had a ligature furrow. A ligature is an object used to apply external force to the neck or compress the neck. And a furrow is simply the pattern of injury that develops underneath the site of compression. So for Cora, her ligature furrow consisted of a linear.
And I'm not saying it's not okay to feel for her. I'm sure he feels for her. You can tell he feels for her by the way that he defends her. But at the end of the day, the same way the cameraman went straight to them hands in that crying, that's what the jury's going to do. And the judge just gave them instructions that you cannot let emotion, anger, passion, empathy, sympathy, none of that has shit to do with the law. None of it. But y'all going to sit up here and put on this stance. I'm already got back here crying. You already got mad when somebody yelled, shut her up. But at the same time, you do not get to put this on, because if for some reason Patrick Clancy would have had any emotion on that dang on stand, they would have stopped it. If for any reason somebody would have felt some type of way or hugged somebody as they was coming off the stand or hug Grandpa Clancy, it would not have been appropriate for the jury. And this for damn sure ain't appropriate.
Horizontally oriented area of pallor.
I don't like that at all.
Her neck.
Don't try to take the jury.
Superior and inferior edges. On the front part of her neck, the lower half of the ligature furrow was associated with additional red abrasions ranging from 1 to 2 millimeters in size. And on the back of her neck, the superior and inferior edges of the ligature furrow had developed some linear bruising as well.
And what do you mean by a furrow?
So again, the furrow is a ligature is when you have external compression by an object on the neck, and a furrow is simply a pattern of injury that occurs beneath it. It can be an imprint, it could be a pattern, or it could be more developed types of injuries such as bruising or abrasions.
And what about injuries?
All right, Counsel, could.
And then you gonna yell, I can't do it?
We're going to take a break this time, all right?
All right. Jurors, close your notebooks. Place them on the chairs, please. This way, please.
Yep, we going home now. It's too much. It's too much, but they gonna mess around and taint their own jury. Now, he don't need to be in on her shenanigans, but baby. No, nobody need this.
We'll be recessed for a few minutes. I'm going to come back. We'll speak to counsel in regards to schedule. Okay.
Lindsay, this is getting ready to polarize the jury. Because for every reason somebody could sympathize with you, other folks are going to sympathize with the children. And this is going to polarize people into a black and white and not leave room for a gray area. Y'all need to give her something so she can make it through. I don't understand why the state is if she's not contesting that she did it. I to be honest, I don't. I don't understand why the records can't be entered and marked as evidence. All evidence goes back with the jury. They already gonna be effed up. Just screw the jury up, okay? And let them bill you for their therapy. I don't know, but I don't understand why they need to do this, because we're gonna have to stop. And what you gonna do? Start the morning like this, baby? They're gonna have to, or they're not gonna, or she's gonna have to be in another room when this is read, and I'm sure that's not going to look good, because then they're going to be talking about how they don't want to stop and start every time she gets up. I mean, or that was a poor choice of words, but every time she leaves the room and comes back, which is going to be a mess. Well, yeah, when you say it like that, Laura, but golly, not all the evidence, but this. Can we get a stipulation? Maybe if we could get a stipulation that they are not contesting the findings of the autopsy, who did the autopsy. Can we get that? Just read it into the record and then give them the evidence, at least for the autopsy. So we ain't gonna make it through, because we ain't even got we still on the external of Cora, and we ain't made it to, ain't nobody touched on Dawson yet. And to be honest, Dawson is going to be the worst. I think Dawson is going to be the worst, because I'm in agreement with the evidence that she did Dawson the worst and first. So he was completely gone. His body had already whipped through everything. Cora was on her way to being like Dawson. And Callan, she didn't get him all. He was gone, but he wasn't all the way gone like Dawson was. She did Dawson the worst and first. So, and when we get to that, I really feel like they're being funny by doing his last, knowing he went first. Because he's going to have the most bruising. He's going to have the most, you know what I mean? The most markings. He's going to have, and you're going to put, what you going to do? Put the pictures up? If she like this when they just talking about the external part, what is she going to be like when they put up pictures? Hooting and hollering. He said hooting and hollering. What happened? Lindsay just had to be escorted out. She was having a very physical and audible reaction to the beginning of the testimony about the external examination autopsy of her daughter Cora. And as they get almost to the bruising of the ligature marks, she loses it, lays out on the desk, and she literally is saying, I can't do this. I can't do it, through her sobs. So they had to stop again. And I'm sure this time we're going home for sure. I'm pretty much sure we're going home. Oh, excuse me. If you didn't get the information earlier, we know that they started the jury selection for the jury for the Tupac trial, or Nevada versus Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, on Monday. They already announced on Monday that they were going to start opening statements Monday the 17th. So on Monday the 17th is when we can expect those opening statements. It looks like their target is 16 jurors, 12 plus 4 alternates. And before they move into the preemptory strikes and challenges and cutting down to the final number, the court wants them to make it to at least 36 potential jurors. As of Monday and Tuesday, their work Monday and Tuesday, they had 19 that were moving forward. So they're still moving towards getting those 36. And then by Thursday, or by tomorrow, they're expected to start cutting it down to hopefully get to that 16 for Monday. Jury needs to hear what she did. I hate it, but just saying, if the DA, and that's the other thing, Molly. Oh, real quick. Well, that's the other thing. We know that in any other unaliving case of any sort, there are certain elements that the state has to prove. And they have to prove that this was a living, breathing person. They have to prove that this person passed away. They are going to show how this person passed away. And then they're going to give evidence as to who did it. Keisha, she did try to plead guilty, but she wants to plead guilty with the caveat that she was not criminally responsible. No, Haley, there is no plea for her because her defense attorney is of the mind that she was not criminally responsible for this. This was due to the mismanagement of her medication and her treatment and her standard of care. So therefore, she's not criminally responsible for this. And the defense is of the mind that these charges should have never, she should have never even been charged with anything. The state is saying, no, you planned this. You sent your husband out the house. You took your time. You took out each one of them. And then when you start feeling guilty, try to take yourself out. But they even said the state even alleges that her trying to take herself out was all part of the plan. This was all premeditated, that she really didn't try to take herself out. She tried to make it look like she was going to take herself out. But the state is calling bullshit and premeditated all the way. They are charging her with premeditated first-degree unaliving, I believe, with malice on all 3 children. So when one side is saying premeditated, throw her away, toss her in jail and throw away the key, and the other side is saying she should have never even been charged, there's really not a plea you can come to, because the only thing that the defense wants at most is for her to say, yes, I took out the children, but no, I'm not criminally responsible, and then send her over to a mental hospital. But the state doesn't want that, because if at any point they decide that Lindsay is not a threat to herself or others, Lindsay would be released. So because she didn't try hard, they did say some shit like that. Now they claim, I know I tore them a new one when they said that, because I said, what the fuck did you just say? But the state is claiming, like they're keeping it under wrap and key, that they have a theory that they want to save for their closings as to why they're saying what they're saying with that, Dietrich. So I don't think there's a such thing of not guilty by reason of insanity and pleading to it. Yeah, I think they have to prove that. I don't. It's a common term, not guilty by reason of insanity, but it's really not a common final thing, right? It's not really that final when we see it, because a lot of times, a lot of people will claim by insanity, or in Massachusetts, not criminally responsible is how they word it. But it's not easy to get that. It's not an easy thing to get nor prove, because it can't just be that I was in an episode or I was having an issue or I was having a breakdown or I wasn't there. You have to be able to prove that the person in the moment of doing what they did, they could not appreciate right from wrong, or they thought they was right in what they was doing. And one, we can't hit rewind like an old school VCR, VHS tape and watch. And two, everything she did, everything that Lindsay did that looks like mental illness can also look like consciousness of guilt. So it's really, really, really a sad and tough situation, because while somebody will say, hey, evidence of her mental illness and the fact that she was out of it is that she tried to take her own life too. And then there's somebody's going to come back and say she tried to take her own life because she realized what she did to her kids. She guilty. Like the fact that she sent her husband away. Somebody could say it was premeditated. Somebody could say she sent her husband away because she knew what she was getting ready to do and he would have stopped her. Like it's going to be 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other at every turn in this case. That's why I truly don't know what the hell was going to come of this. I truly don't know, because every which way you turn, somebody can combat it from the other side. It's like 50-50 on everything. So they've got to take this time with the evidence to prove it, or prove something, or do something. Yeah. It's just sad. This jury has got to be the one to make the decision. Baby, this is, there's been a lot of times where I've said like, oh, if I was an alternate, I'd be pissed. Baby, if they end up telling me I was one of those 6 alternates, baby, the way I would haul ass home, I probably would take off running and run all the way home and forget to get in my car. I would, baby, get me out of here. I don't think I would. She could have just left. She could have, but somebody could argue that if she was in psychosis, was,
We return back to
see?
the matter of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy.
Get me off of here. Okay, there we go.
All right. Council sidebar, please.
And we back to sidebar. Whew. You know we going home. He said, I tried. I gave it to y'all the first time. I came back and tried to do it. I came back, tried to do it. Yeah, I think they should send her back. They should put her somewhere during this testimony. Still give her the ability to watch. I know they're going to argue that she's not participating in her defense that way, but as long as he's out there to object, he's given all the objections he can, and the information's still going to come in anyway. So I say just put her on the TV and put that screen out of the view of the jury and that way she can do what she need to do, feel what she need to feel, go through what she need to go through, and then when it's time for her, next break or what have you, bring her on back in. Putting her in another room. Yeah, well, not really. Because, I mean, sometimes when they keep doing things or outbursts or things that would cause attention to themselves or could tank the jury, Daryl, what was the crazy man that drove through that parade? Was it Daryl Brooks? Whew, he got away with so much, though. But also a Helio Bishop or a Nature Boy. Georgia put his ass in the back, but they told him they wasn't about to keep bringing him back and forth. If he went in the back, he was going to stay because he just wouldn't act right. Who else was threatened to take in the back? What's his name? Ronnie. He was he was doing the most too, though. But those are like, ooh, Ronnie. Ronnie did the most. He was representing himself too. Daryl Brooks and him was both representing themselves. Ronnie, what was Ronnie's name? I can't even think. That was a crazy trial to watch too. That was a crazy trial to watch. But I'm trying to think. Ronnie had, taken out one of his children too, and did not succeed in taking out his son. And his son was on the stand and had to go through cross-examination with the daddy who took out his mama and his
All set.
No, she didn't give the kids anything. They didn't have anything in their system.
Still under oath.
All right, jury. Court's now in session. Please be seated.
Your Honor, for the purpose of the record, we return back to the trial of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. All parties are present, including the defendant and the 18 jurors.
All right, Attorney Sprague?
Thank you, Your Honor. You had described previously the injuries to Cora's neck. Were there also injuries on her face that correlated to those marks?
Yes. On examination of her face, she showed diffuse petechial hemorrhages of the skin of the face, most prominently around the skin of the eyes. She showed petechial hemorrhages on the inside of her eyelids as well as the inside of her lips.
And if I could have photo.
God bless it. They gonna keep going and go to the face.
Doctor, there's a remote here. If you press and hold the top button, you can highlight what you're talking about in the photo when it comes up.
I didn't call that one. I thought we was going home.
Is that the area of the
I'm gonna remove my face so I
Yes,
don't.
in this photo, I have the lower lip pulled down, and on the inside of the lower lip, we can see punctate hemorrhages, which are the petechial hemorrhages.
Okay. And if you could, is that working for you? I can need to see that. There you go.
Okay.
This area here?
There you go.
Okay. You just hold that top button and hold it down. And so we can remove that photo. When you talked about petechial hemorrhaging in the eyes and eyelids, did it look similar to that?
Yes.
And basically it's those red marks all around the mouth, and then those same red marks were on the eyes
Yes.
eyelids? You tell me where they were.
So they are pinpoint hemorrhages that occur. And again, they were located on the inside of the eyelids. So I inverted the eyelids and I flipped open the inside of the lips, and they were also in those locations.
And if we could have photo of 7784, please. You could tell us what injuries we're seeing here in this photo.
In this photo, we are looking at the body from the left, and you can see the ligature furrow in this photo. Here is the linear area of pallor with the distinct superior and inferior edge. You can also appreciate in this photo some small punctate hemorrhages or the petechial hemorrhages of the face.
And if you could show photo
That's her,
7782, please.
Wait, I might have to ask you Tennessee after this.
In this photo, we are looking at the front of the neck, again, focused on the ligature furrow, which is this distinct area, linear area of pallor. And on the front of her neck, the lower half of this ligature furrow had scattered red abrasions associated with it.
Take down the photo. What are abrasions in terms of what you do?
So abrasion occurs when there is sufficient friction against the skin to cause a removal of the superficial layer of the skin.
Is it basically a scrape?
Yes.
And can we have photo 2256, please? You can tell us what we're looking at here, please.
This is a close-up photo of the back of the neck. Here is the linear area of pallor with the distinct superior and inferior linear edges. You can appreciate that the linear edges in this photo started to develop linear bruising.
And were there other injuries on the body other than those on the neck and the face?
Yes, she had injuries to her right arm and on her legs.
And if I could show you photograph 7789. Are you able to tell us what we're looking at here?
This is an up-close photo where we can see a very small, faint bruise. All of the bruises on her legs as well as her right arm consisted of small scattered bruises.
And if we could have photo 7770. What are we seeing here?
This is an image focused on her right leg. Here we see 3 bruises on her knee and 2 bruises on her left lower leg. This is a site of medical intervention, the intraosseous catheter site where the needle enters the bone.
And if we could see 7790, please. What are we seeing here?
This is a close-up photo of her left leg. Again, we can see a bruise here as well as a bruise here on her left lower leg.
And then the last photo, 2233. I'm sorry, one more after that. What are we seeing here in this photograph?
In this photo, we can see the bruises I described earlier, as well as the inside of her left ankle. We're seeing 2 additional bruises.
And if we could see photograph 7794. What is shown in this photo?
This is an image of her left leg, again showing the 2 bruises
it ain't
on her
come
left
back,
ankle, and then additional bruises on her left lower leg.
And then 7775, please.
They
What
are
are we seeing in this photo?
This is an image of her right arm extended, and I have the image focused on her right bicep where there was 3 small bruises.
And
excuse me.
in terms of bruising, are you able to tell the age of a bruise by looking at it?
No.
Can you tell whether it's a fresh or an old bruise?
So generally speaking, we can appreciate the color of bruises. So red, blue, purple bruises tend to be bruises that occur more recently. And as they heal over time, they start to take on a yellow or green appearance.
And the bruises that you observed on Cora's body, how did they appear?
They all had versions of red appearance to their shapes.
So because they had red appearance, does that mean that they are fresh wounds?
They occurred recently.
And again, you can't tell how they occurred or what the exact time and date they occurred.
Correct.
Is there any information you can glean from the location of the wounds where some of the bruises were close together, like the 3 on the knee or the 2 on the lower right leg?
No, I can only document where they are and their measurements.
Now, Can I have a moment?
Sure.
This will be the
Going
end of
back
my
to
jury
the
service. I'm
injuries on her
sorry.
neck,
You do this.
what do those tell you based on your training and experience, when you're trying to determine the cause of death? What do those wounds tell you?
When I see a ligature furrow that is horizontally oriented in association with significant petechial hemorrhages, those findings are consistent with a ligature strangulation.
And what is ligature strangulation?
Again, a ligature is an object used to apply external force to the neck, and a strangulation is when it is done by someone else.
And when that happens, what effect does it have on the body? How does it? What is the mechanism of death?
Ligature strangulation results in a category of asphyxial type of deaths. Asphyxia means that the body is deprived of oxygen, and in this case, specifically the brain. So when you have compression on the outside of the neck, blood is how oxygen is delivered throughout our body. So the right side of the heart delivers blood to our lungs, where during breathing and respiration, we then put oxygen into our blood. It then moves to the right side of our heart and gets pushed out to our body through blood vessels we call arteries. Once the oxygen is released at its targeted site, it then recirculates to the right side of the heart through blood vessels called veins, and the process starts all over again. It's a continuous circulation. But when you have compression of the neck, first and foremost, your airways reduce, it's compressed, so you can have a reduction in your ability to breathe or complete inhibition in your ability to breathe. When you have compressions of the veins of the neck, the blood cannot drain from the head, and so then the blood actually has a backwards flow of pressure that meets the arterial blood, and that results in an increase of blood pressure within the blood vessels, as well as an overall increase in intracranial pressure. And with the compression of the artery, there's no oxygenated blood being delivered to the brain.
And as this blood is gathering in the face and head area, is that kind of causing the same type of pressure as a balloon filling up?
Yes, or like a water pipe as well.
And what happens as that blood pools and causes that pressure in the face and the head?
What normally happens is, first and foremost, the brain just has a reduced ability to take in oxygen. And in the smallest vessels in the face and brain, such as capillaries or venules, they are subject to rupture.
And as that pressure is building in those veins and are rupturing, is that painful?
Just like our blood vessels run throughout all of our body, there are nerves throughout all of our body as well. And so there is a component of pain present until loss of consciousness occurs.
And how long can it take, or does it take,
for
loss of consciousness to happen?
I cannot put a specific time on it for the interval. There's multiple variables to consider in a case-by-case basis. The type of ligature used, the force of the ligature used against the neck, as well as the intensity and duration of the altercation. However, in situations where there's complete oxygen deprivation, loss of consciousness can occur as early as 10 to 30 seconds, with brain damage beginning at the 1 minute mark and irreversible brain damage and subsequent death occurring around as early as 5 minutes, again with the caveat that there are variables that might accelerate or decelerate that time frame.
Is there a type of constant pressure that's required to cause that loss of consciousness?
Ultimately, once the brain has a critically low level of oxygen, a loss of consciousness will occur. It takes an average of 4 pounds to compress the veins of the neck and an average of around 10 pounds to compress the arteries of the neck.
And so if someone's squeezing something or pulling something around the neck at that 4 pounds or 10 pounds of pressure in a consistent basis without any resistance, does unconsciousness happen faster?
It could occur faster, yes.
What if someone's resisting or struggling or pulling away? Could that take longer?
When the body is in a state of stress, you have a stress response that demands an actual increase in oxygen utilization by our body. So in the presence of an increased demand with a decreased amount being delivered to the brain, it can accelerate the timeline to loss of consciousness.
What do you mean by accelerate the time to loss of consciousness?
No, overall, you can ask.
It would just make it occur faster.
And so if that pressure isn't constant, say someone struggles and is able to get free a little bit, and then you have to tighten it again. Does that make it take longer?
Sustain.
You said anywhere from 5 to 30 seconds. What are the factors? I'm sorry, you said 10 to 30 seconds. Is that correct?
Yes, for loss of consciousness.
What are the factors that are at play for whether it's 10 seconds or 30 seconds?
Again, there's multiple variables. So the force of the ligature against the neck, the actual ligature itself, and the intensity and duration of the altercation.
And once someone loses consciousness, do they immediately die?
No, so if there's no intervention, the brain continues to have a lack of oxygen. And so until the brain cells start to die, it's irreversible injury to the brain. The person is alive until the body can no longer sustain the lack of oxygen.
If someone is strangled to the point of unconsciousness and the strangulation stops, can they wake up?
Without intervention is very unlikely.
So do you recall testifying previously that when asked if a person were to use a ligature around someone's neck to the point where they pass out?
But, counsel, we had that answer, right?
It's an inconsistent statement.
This is your witness.
I know, and I can impeach with an inconsistent statement.
I see it's sidebar.
Jesus.
Doctor, do you have to continue to strangle someone past the 30 seconds to cause death?
No. Once the brain is subject to oxygen deprivation and brain cells start to die, it's irreversible. And so it will continue to progress towards death if there's no intervention.
What do you mean by intervention?
Resuscitative efforts, if somebody tried to give CPR, if they were hooked up to oxygen machines.
Do you recall testifying previously that it would be your opinion that pressure would need to be continually applied even after losing consciousness to cause death?
Sustain.
If
Hold on. Sustain. Next question.
So your testimony is that you can strangle someone for 30 seconds, let go, and then they die.
I said that in this presence of complete oxygen deprivation, there is a general time frame. And so 30 seconds, I cannot give a specific number to that. Once strangulation occurs, again, the brain starts to be subjected to a lack of oxygen. So whether the ligature is present or whether the ligature is not present, the oxygen deprivation and irreversible brain damage is already occurring.
And there's no coming back from that?
Not without intervention. It's very unlikely. Again, the brain cannot heal those cells.
Did you form an opinion to a reasonable degree of professional certainty, to medical certainty, as the cause of death of Cora?
Yes.
And what was that?
Asphyxia.
And was that by manual strangulation?
By strangulation.
Mechanical strangulation, I mean. Yes. Did you also examine or do an autopsy on Dawson Clancy?
Yes.
And when was that?
January 25th.
And did you observe injuries on Dawson Clancy when you did the external examination?
I did observe injuries to Dawson. He had trauma to his neck with associated injuries of the head, as well as minor injuries to his left arm and his legs.
And if we could pull up photo 2166.
Just protect your peace now. Protect your peace. What
What
happened?
are we seeing in this photo?
This photo is a picture of the lower lip of Dawson being pulled down, and we can see, again, similar to Cora, these petechial hemorrhages on the inside of the mouth.
And can you also see them on the eyes in this photo?
You can see periorbital petechial hemorrhages, so the skin around the eye.
And were there also those same type of hemorrhages when you lifted the eyelid?
Yes.
And if we could have photo 2149. What are we seeing here?
Dawson on his neck, similar to Cora, had a linear horizontally oriented ligature furrow consisting of an area of pallor around the neck. He had distinct superior and inferior edges to his furrow as well. This is on the back side of the neck, where we can also appreciate abrasions that are in line or parallel with the inferior and superior edges of the furrow.
And if we could have photo 2147, please. What are we seeing in this photograph?
In this photograph, we can appreciate the distinct area of pallor here on the neck, again representing the ligature furrow with diffuse petechial hemorrhages of the skin of the face.
And what are we seeing there on his shoulder?
This is just some dried body fluid.
And if we could see photo 2151, please. What is depicted in this photograph?
This is a similar photograph to the one just shown here, where you can see the distinct area of pallor representing the ligature furrow with superior and inferior edges, and again, the diffuse petechial hemorrhages of the face.
And these photos of Dawson's face, the petechial hemorrhaging on the face, appear to be darker than those and more expansive than those on Cora's face, correct?
They appear more prominent in Dawson than in Cora, yes.
And what can cause the damage being more prominent and more dispersed over the face?
Again, petechial hemorrhages occur as a result of rupturing of small vessels in the skin. And so the fact that there are more present in Dawson is indicative that there were moments where some blood did reach or push through the furrow or the ligature in little spikes or peaks, which would just result in momentary increases in blood pressure that would result in more petechial hemorrhages.
And what would cause that blood being able to flow?
Any movement against the carotid arteries. The carotid arteries are thicker and more muscular than the veins, so they're more likely to push through with the blood. So that could be movement of the ligature or movement of the person handling the ligature or movement of Dawson himself.
Dawson was fighting.
Dawson struggling, or it could be from more pressure or force of the ligature?
Yes, changes in the pressure of the ligature.
And if I could see photo 2143, please. What are we seeing in this photo?
This is the back of his left forearm. It is a little pale with the light, but there were 3 small bruises on the back of his left forearm.
And going to photo 2155. What are we seeing in this photo?
This is a picture of us. So at this point position, Dawson is face down. So we're looking at the side of his right leg, and we can see a small faint bruise here.
And then going to photo 2144. What are we seeing in this photograph?
This is an up-close photograph, but I can appreciate that there are small bruises in the center of the image.
And photograph 2156. What are we seeing in this photograph?
In this photograph, we're looking at the back of the legs. The one closest to us is the left leg. The one farthest from us is the right. You can see bruises here, here, and here, as well as the inside of the right knee.
And so when you said here, here, and here, that was the outer portion
of the left upper leg.
Thank you. We could have photo 2119, please. What is depicted in this photograph?
This is an up-close photo of his hands.
And is there any significance to the blueness of the fingernails?
I would not have called these necessarily blue or cyanotic. That would be more of the discoloration of his face. There is some subtle blueness to the nail beds, which is again a sign of cyanosis, which is just reflective of a decrease in oxygen in the body.
And last photo is the PDF, please. What are we seeing here?
This image, Dawson is face up, and we can see his right and left legs. Here on his right lower leg, we see small bruises. On his right knee, left knee, we are seeing a bruise. And here is a site of medical intervention, the intraosseous catheter site.
And what are you able to tell us about the bruises on Dawson?
Baby, after you cry
terms
like
of
that,
whether
ain't
they're
nothing left
fresh
to
or
do but
old?
go to sleep.
They were all red and purple in appearance, so they were more recent.
And based on your examination of Dawson, were you able to determine a cause of death?
Yes.
And did you determine
Like
that to a reasonable
somebody.
degree of medical
Oh, come on,
certainty?
Lord, let it
Yes.
be over.
And what was
Come on.
that?
Asphyxia.
Damn it, move it right along. Shit.
Your
Okay,
Honor,
we
I
got
move
to the
to
cause of death. You
submit,
done?
The original photos of Cora and Dawson as for identification, and the other, the ones that were just shown to the jury as exhibits.
So mark the first set for identification. Right. Then over the defendant's objection,
He said whatever.
using the same analysis as stated in sidebar, those other photographs may be admitted.
The photos of Cora and then Dawson as the next exhibits, please.
228 and 229.
Yeah, ain't nothing to do after he cry like that but go to sleep. He just got to go to sleep. Jesus.
And then the, excuse me, that certificate of Cora Marie Clancy as the next exhibit.
No objection to that.
All right. That may be admitted.
And the death certificate of Dawson William Clancy as the next exhibit. I have nothing further. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mason.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good answer. Good answer. Come on, sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Because, baby.
All right. Members of the jury, we're going to break at this time. I'm going to ask you to come back tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I would expect the schedule similar to what we had today. I'm going to remind you again, don't talk about this case. Don't read about this case. Don't read about anything similar.
Reddington might actually say something to OJP today.
Don't do any research. Put this out of your head for tomorrow morning. All right? And I'll see everybody.
Yeah, put it out your head. Go home, get you an icy and a hoo hoo.
All right.
Woo! Shit.
This way, please.
Oh, it's trash. What's that noise?
Counsel, anything we need to address before tomorrow morning?
Lindsay.
No, thank you.
So we'll be in recess on this matter till tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Court stands in recess. Please exit the courtroom.
All righty, that is it. We made it through. Good googly moogie, good goddamn. We made it. We made it. We made it. It's over. We made it through. They shouldn't have to say that shit ever no more. We are done. Damn. Okay. I did see the questions in there. I'm sorry, I didn't want to stop it. I didn't want to pause it. I wanted to get through it. Okay. What is that? Is that the trash truck still? Okay. I didn't want to stop it because real quickly, the reason for the impeachment, that was a horrible choice of words. What she was trying to get out is that the medical examiner start testifying as to a complete loss of oxygen, and started to say basically after 30 seconds it was going to be what it was going to be. And y'all know that's not what that DA wanted, because we've already talked about it. We've talked about the fact that she was going to use the fact that it was going to take about 4 to 5 minutes for each child to go up out of here, and how long it was going to take. She didn't go the silence route that we see in a lot of other testimonies, but what she was trying to get that medical examiner to get the fuck off that 30 seconds, like it was just 30 seconds on each child. But she was the only thing she could testify to truly is if it was a complete loss. She couldn't say if there was some, if there wasn't, because when she started getting to if there was, if there's some wasn't, if the pressure started changing, then we got to the fucking point of Dawson moving. Stop it, please. Okay. So I hope the DA got everything she needed. At this point, we have had all 3 autopsies. We have had the pathologist that looked at other organs. It should be done. We shouldn't have to hear it again until closings. I'm sure she's going to pull it up for the closings, but she got it out. She got it in. She forced Lindsay through it. And I even though this is a different situation, in any time, regardless of if it's self-defense or I wasn't there or Shaggy, it wasn't me, they still go through the medical examiner, how they pass, when they pass, all of that good stuff. It was horribly necessary, and they decided to keep going even when Lindsay's muffled cries turned into a dog fucking roar. Okay, but it's done. It's done. Come on, Tierra, shots. Yeah, because that's what I'm getting ready to do. These kids gonna get off early, so I have to wait till their daddy get home before I go ahead and partake. But please believe, by the time it is 4 p.m. in Arizona, an adult beverage will be had for Miss J. So let me go ahead and recap this before we get to 4 p.m. Because if I don't, ain't no telling what y'all gonna get on that recap with a little bit in me. But everybody, please go decompress. If you can do what the judge said, put it out of your mind till 9 o'clock tomorrow. If you're going to be watching, touch some grass, have some fun, play some Miss Pac-Man, Tetris, watch something funny. I might start reposting some crazy TikToks just so everybody can have some fun. Do what you need to do. Get this out of your mind. I had a hula hoop and an icy today. Whatever, take me back to childhood for a second. Whatever you need to do, that's what we're going to do. Also, tomorrow, we'll watch Mods. Remember, Denver's getting his award tomorrow. So for a couple minutes. So we'll work on that, but I'm not gonna leave y'all hanging with this. We'll figure it out in the morning. Just what Joanna man say, keep pouring until your hands get tired. That's my movie. That might be what I do. I might watch Joanna Man. Those are other things I do recommend. Go back to movies that you have not seen as an adult if you want to laugh your ass off. First off, Joanna Man is a good one. The second one, Liar Liar. Okay, Liar Liar. Okay, that is, watch that as an adult. I swear to God, you'll appreciate it another way. Okay, but whatever you need to do, if you got to go and get lost with Kevin McAllister today or something like that, do whatever you need to do. But baby, do it and don't do this. All right, I love y'all the most. Get them coins for the rest of the day, and we'll be back in the morning.
Yeah.